Hello and welcome to the new look Roundel Live with Frank and
Ged.
Now, you may remember we've done this before where we were actually sitting at the roundel that you see here behind us, but it's getting a bit cold and wet and windy and noisy out there, so we are at our brand new studio facility at Winchester Court in Onchan, which, by the way, you can rent to yourself if you want to do videos up here. It's a wonderful new facility. Details in the description. Well, what is it about? The new Roundel Live, or Roundel Almost Live, because at the moment we're pre-recorded, will be a bit of a current affairs news chat show reacting to all the things that are happening on the rock. Could be anything. Get in touch with us. We always want to hear from you. Here's the email address. Just drop us a line with topic suggestions, with comments. Of course, comment on the video. We'll try and do almost daily shows, just short 5-10 minute things reacting to the news. Hopefully come up with interesting stuff. We would love for you to like and subscribe. We created this new channel for it especially, just to keep things nice and separate. And yeah, that's about it. So
that's it, Frank. Independent, unregulated, there's no rules. It's just like the Roundel on the promenade in Douglas. We haven't got a clue what's going on, coming in from the left, coming in from the right. It's chaos. Let's just watch it all, break it out into one giant car crash, maybe.
Maybe. So here we go with episode 1 of the new Roundel Live. So here we are with episode 1, and it already promises to be rubbish.
Talking trash, Frank, just like your brethren round the Douglas Council table. Bin collections.
Yes.
Once a week, work nice and simple. The system was beautiful. Everyone loved it. Now you've turned the town upside down. Are people depositing litter on your driveway? Are you getting flack in the street? What's going on?
Well, there were some people who said online they would. I mean, in case you don't know, I am a Douglas councillor, and I am one of the councillors who voted for the change to fortnightly bin collections. In fact, out of the 12 of us, 11 of us did, or technically 10 if you exclude the mayor. And yes, I was one of them. Yes, there were people online who said that they would deposit their bags of rubbish on my doorstep to show me what a rubbish idea it is. In reality, we haven't actually received that many complaints against it, and I know people won't believe me. I have not received that many emails against it. In fact, most people seem to be for it.
But it's kicked off online, hasn't it? And the Isle of Man centres around the digital media community, don't they, with Facebook and Manx forums and what have you. And you guys are really taking a kicking. I mean, if you are watching and you have got some evidence, some photographs, please put them in the comment box, because I must admit I'm not convinced. How was it dressed up? It was going to be a saving of £26,000 over the year?
There are two factors to this, really. There is a cost saving, yes, but there is the bigger part, really, and that is the environmental change. That is the fact that the Isle of Man, where recycling was concerned, or Douglas, I should say, is years ahead, 20 years ahead, behind other places, and it's time that we, get a move on and join the rest of the world and go ahead and be a bit more environmentally friendly. Because the thing is, right, it's nothing new. A lot of local authorities on the Isle of Man already have fortnightly collections. Most of them do not have a curbside recycling scheme like Douglas has on top of it to make it easier to recycle. Braddon has one, but I think that's the only one that has a recycling scheme outside of outside of Douglas. And really, if we talk about, the beautiful Isle of Man and the biosphere and all this, well, recycling is part of a sustainable lifestyle.
But we're talking about Douglas as a different entity as opposed to Braddon and the places out in the parishes. Douglas, it's more congested. The housing is a bit more closer together. You've got a lot of rentals. You've got properties which are stacked on top of each other. Surely, to a family who are perhaps living in a flat in Timble Street, Allen Street, somewhere like that, having a fortnightly collection could be a real problem. The rubbish that you get and the issues you get, they are the same if you're in Ramsey or if you're in Braddon or if you're in Douglas. We have a few bigger apartment buildings, but none of this is really a practical problem. There are solutions for it. Yes, it is a big change, and we fully acknowledge that. I acknowledge that. By the way, quick disclaimer, anything I do say here, I say as a private individual. I do not speak for Douglas City Council. I have to say that, otherwise the lawyers will send me
angry letters. So this is just all my opinion, right? Yes, it's a big change. There is help available for those people who have, big families, multiple kids, who need a bigger bin or 2 bins. And this is already being addressed. I mean, the guys in City Hall, they are working flat out to help with this. And like I said, most people are supportive of it.
Okay, so just a quickie. The people who do the bins, the refuse collectors, have they got a week off every other week now? What's going on?
No, they do not, because we, of course, do the garden waste collection, which is, so we still continue to collect the same volume of waste, if you want, because we do 1 week normal and 1 week garden waste. Now, in the winter, this winter, garden waste was stopped, I believe, in October. We then extended a little bit because people still had waste to get rid of. Next year, it will be stopped in November, I believe. So there will only be 1 or 2 months without garden waste. And that's the time that the staff can use for training and to do other things. But they are still as busy as they've always been.
Well, we've had the warmest year on record, so it'll be interesting to see how much more the grass is growing all year round. But surely some people are chancing it by maybe putting some trash in the garden refuse bin. Is that right? Or is it?
I wouldn't know. I would have to ask. But we had this wonderful front page when I was fueling up my car. You see the paper in the shop, and I was like, I couldn't believe they actually put the bin story on the front page again, and the fact that a very small number, I think 4 out of 600 public bins were temporarily removed or have been removed to discourage.
This is like
household
guerrilla
refuse.
dumping. I know that this is going on, and when you go down that glorious pit lane of TT Heritage and you've got that nasty sight of recycling and there's mess everywhere, that seems to be overflowing all the time.
Well, the recycling rate is going up, and as it goes up, it's already gone up significantly. I think it's gone up from 5 to 15%, and that will go up even more. And as it does, of course, there needs to be more resources to be put at that. And by the way, there are all these myths that whatever is collected for recycling goes in the incinerator and all this. There's a lot of information on the Douglas website. It does not go in the incinerator.
So you're promising that plastic bottles don't get in the incinerator?
There is information on the website how it is produced. Not all plastic can be recycled, as far as I'm aware.
Yep.
But the vast majority, it tells you exactly on the site. There's actually a YouTube video. I will try and link to it in the description that tells you exactly where the stuff goes.
So we can trust the incinerator and all it burns. Yes.
The wonderful incinerator that's going to be up for contract renewal,
isn't it? Yeah, that's going to be a big story, big expense, isn't it? So really, when it comes down to it, I think we've got to look at the Isle of Man in general, the Isle of Man as a whole, where we've got between 15 and 20, say, separate local authorities.
Isn't it 24?
I think it's 20. Is it 22?
22. Way too many.
I think we've possibly got, say, 15 different recycling refuse collection regimes. We've got multiple bin wagons. We've got parishes. We've got communities living alongside each other with different day bin collections. It's absolutely bonkers. And really, who's dealing with it? These are the unpaid elected representatives. These are your commissioners and your councillors who are actually dealing with these problems face on. It's remarkable, really, that our MHKs who have voted in and paid handsomely are really at such a distance from this. And there's not all of them. But there's not a huge amount of commentary. But when you look at the responsibilities, it's not their responsibility.
No, they are national politicians.
National politicians.
An MHK shouldn't look after the bins. Some of them have. Some of them have been very vocal. Some are understanding of what we do. Some are completely opposed to it. In Douglas South, which is where I'm a councillor, we have at least one who is understanding but thinks it should have been done differently, and one who's against it. And the one who's against it, not naming any names here, David, actually voted for the recycling scheme when he was in Douglas Borough Council. So what happened?
But collectively, they're supporting, they're endorsing, they're not actively trying to change this nonsense of a setup that we got on the Isle of Man regarding refuse and recycling. And this is the issue.
There's a wider scope here. We need local government reform. The Isle of Man is overgoverned, and they always say Turkeys wouldn't vote for Christmas. Well, I would very happily vote for Christmas as a Douglas City turkey. I shouldn't say that. Because it's needed. It's overgoverned. You don't need all these local authorities. Loads of them can't even fill their seats because nobody's interested in local politics. The only time people care about local politics is when you get the rates bill and, when we don't empty the bins. When things operate as they should, nobody notices, which is great. That's what we want, right? We want people to just get on with their lives. But there is no interest in local politics. And unless you put proper, massive, well overdue local government reform in place, which good luck with that one, nothing will change. You will continue with this fragmented system from recycling to everything else.
Well, we have got some good community people who are involved in local politics, and they've got in there for a reason, and they're able to push their own agendas, which are generally, for the greater good, and that is a good thing. But what I'm saying is the influence on the lives of people on a day-to-day basis is much bigger than what your elected representatives in the House of Keys and therefore Tynwald can actually exert. And maybe, these the biggest issues of all.
But, going back to the whole recycling and fortnightly thing, which is, of course, primarily done to encourage more recycling. We talk about the beautiful island and, how we have to look after this place and look after it for future generations, of course, as well. And I think recycling is something that's being done in many, many other places for many years already. And it's a culture change, but I think as a community, and we always refer to this great community spirit, we can do it together to create a better, a nicer, a cleaner place. And it's a good thing.
Well, make me a pledge then that, we'll say 3 months' time, come to me with the recycling figures, the success rates, and then we can discuss it then. Because at the moment, the jury's out in my book. I don't think Douglas has got an appetite for it at the moment.
I will get whatever data. We do measure the recycling rates, so I will get whatever data I can get. And when it is published, and we will talk about it, and we will review the recycling rates in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, and see how it develops. And I predict it's going to go up, and it's going to be a success. It's already a success. So,
well, there we go. We'll wrap it up, shall we?
Yes.
3 months.
I will come back with the figures in 3 months.
Deal.
So that was episode 1 of the new format of Roundel. And let us know what you think. Leave a comment, subscribe, like, share, get in touch. That's it from me.
Adios, folks.
See you later.